6 months old. That's how old he was. When he was placed in the arms of a young man everyone thought was just another Barcelona player. That man was Lionel Messi. Nobody in that room knew it yet, but they were looking at the future. A baby who would grow up to break almost every age record in football history. A boy who would be compared to Messi before he could even walk properly. And a kid from one of the poorest, most overlooked neighborhoods in Spain, who would end up standing on the biggest stages in the world, wearing the number 10 shirt that Messi himself once wore. This is the story of Lamine Yamal. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you're going to understand why so many people believe he's not just Barcelona's next star. He might be the one player who changes everything. Let's get into it. To understand Lamine Yamal, you can't start with the trophies, you can't start with the records. You have to start with a small, forgotten neighborhood called Rocafonda in the town of Mataró, just outside Barcelona. Rocafonda isn't the kind of place you see in glossy football documentaries. It's been described in Spanish newspapers as forgotten, isolated, stigmatized. A working-class neighborhood where opportunities were rare and where a lot of kids never got the chance to show the world what they could do. That's where Lamine Yamal Nasraoui Ibana was born on July 13, 2007. His father is from Morocco. His mother is from Equatorial Guinea. Two immigrant parents doing what they could in a neighborhood that the rest of the country barely thought about. And here's something beautiful you probably didn't know. His name, Lamine Yamal, isn't just a name his parents liked the sound of. It's actually a tribute. Before he was born, two people helped his family financially during a hard time. Their names were Lamine and Yamal, so his parents combined both names and gave them to their son. Before he ever kicked a football, his name was already a symbol of gratitude, of community, of people helping people when times were tough. That's the environment that shaped him. Not luxury, not comfort, just love, struggle, and a ball at his feet. At just 4 years old, Lamine started playing organized football at a small local club called La Torreta in Granollers. Nobody was thinking about Barcelona yet. Nobody was thinking about the Ballon d'Or. He was just a tiny kid, doing what millions of kids across the world do every single day, chasing a ball around a dusty pitch, dreaming. But here's the thing. Some dreams are different. And it wouldn't take long before the biggest club on the planet came looking for him. Now, let's go back to that moment I mentioned at the start, because it's honestly one of the most incredible coincidences in modern football. In 2007, when Lamine was just a baby, Barcelona ran a charity photo shoot involving the club and UNICEF. Somehow, little baby Lamine ended up in that shoot, and in one of the photos, he's being bathed by a 20-year-old footballer who was just starting to make a name for himself at Barcelona. That footballer's name was Lionel Messi. At the time, it meant nothing. It was just a cute photo, buried somewhere in an archive. Nobody could have imagined that 15, 16 years later, that same baby would be wearing Messi's old number 10 jersey at the very same club. When those photos resurfaced years later, after Yamal started breaking headlines, the internet went wild. People couldn't believe it. It felt like something out of a movie script, like fate had planned this from the very beginning. Some people even joked that Messi had somehow passed on his talent that day, like some kind of football blessing. Of course, that's not how football works. Talent isn't handed down in a bathtub, but symbolically. It's hard not to feel like there was something poetic about it, the old king, unknowingly holding the future king in his hands. But here's the twist that a lot of people don't know. That photo wasn't the reason Barcelona signed him, not even close. Years later, Barcelona scouts found him completely by chance, watching him play for his small local club. And what they saw shocked them. At just 6 years old, Lamine Yamal was scouted by FC Barcelona. Think about that for a second. 6 years old. Most kids at that age are still learning how to tie their shoelaces. But scouts at Barcelona's academy, the legendary La Masia, saw something in this small kid from Rocafonda that made them stop in their tracks. In 2014, he officially signed for Barcelona and moved into their academy system. Now, La Masia isn't just any academy. This is the same academy that produced Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Puyol, and yes, Messi himself. It's considered one of the greatest football academies in the history of the sport, and a young boy from a struggling neighborhood was suddenly training on the same grounds with the same philosophy that built some of the greatest players who ever lived. But here's what made Lamine different right from the start. He didn't just keep up with kids his own age, he raced through the age categories faster than almost anyone in his generation. Coaches kept pushing him up and up and up because he simply wasn't being challenged enough at his own age level. By his mid-teenage years, Barcelona's first-team coaching staff were already watching him closely, not as a maybe someday prospect, as a genuine building block for the club's future. And then, something happened that nobody expected so soon. The kid from Rocafonda was about to step onto the biggest stage in Spanish football, years before anyone thought he was ready. April 29th, 2023. Mark that date because it's the day everything changed. Barcelona were playing Real Betis in La Liga, and in the 83rd minute, the manager, Xavi Hernandez, made a substitution that turned heads around the entire footballing world. He brought on a 15-year-old boy, replacing Gavi, 15 years old. 15 years, 9 months, and 16 days, to be exact. That single decision made Lamine Yamal the youngest player to ever represent FC Barcelona's first team in an official match, breaking a record that had stood since 1922. Over 100 years, gone in one substitution. Barcelona won that game 4-0, and while the scoreline made headlines, what people were really talking about was this skinny teenager who looked completely unbothered stepping onto a professional pitch for the first time. No nerves, no hesitation, just pure calm. 6 months later, in October 2023, he did it again, this time with the ball in the back of the net. He scored against Granada, becoming the youngest goal scorer in the history of La Liga, a record that had survived decades, broken by a 16-year-old kid who, not long before, was playing on dusty pitches in Mataró. But club football was only half the story, because Spain's national team was about to come calling, and what happened next would turn Lamine Yamal from a promising Barcelona kid into a global phenomenon. September 8th, 2023, Lamine Yamal made his senior debut for the Spanish national team. He was 16 years and 57 days old. That made him the youngest player to ever wear the Spain jersey at senior level, and almost immediately he backed it up by becoming Spain's youngest ever goalscorer too. Now, if that was the peak of the story, it would already be remarkable. But this is where things start to get almost unbelievable. In the summer of 2024, Lamine was selected for the UEFA European Championship, Euro 2024, in Germany. He started for Spain against Croatia at 16 years and 338 days old, making him the youngest player to ever appear at a European Championship. Not long after, he became the youngest goal scorer in the tournament's history too. And then came the final, Spain against England. The pressure was enormous, an entire country's hopes resting on a team that included a teenager who technically couldn't even legally drive a car in most countries. But Lamine didn't crumble under that pressure. He played a key role as Spain lifted the trophy, winning their 4th European title. He also walked away with the tournament's Young Player Award. Picture that for a second. A boy who, just a couple of years earlier, was training on academy pitches most people have never heard of, was now a European champion, being talked about by pundits, legends, and former players around the entire world. But here's the part that really shows what kind of player and person Lamine was becoming. It wasn't just about the records, it was about how he carried himself under pressure that would break most adults, let alone a teenager. By the time Lamine turned 17, the biggest names in football weren't just noticing him, they were in awe of him. His own manager at Barcelona, Hansi Flick, has openly said Lamine is a rare kind of talent, the type that only comes along once every several decades. Even opposing coaches, people who have every reason to downplay a rival's young star, couldn't hide their admiration. And it wasn't just coaches. His own Spain teammate, Nico Williams, has talked about how the two of them connect. Both coming from humble backgrounds, both being what you'd call street players. Players who learned the game not through fancy training manuals, but through raw instinct on real streets and real pitches. That instinct is exactly what makes Lamine so different from a typical academy product. Yes, He was trained at La Masia, one of the most disciplined academies in the world. But underneath all that structure, there's still that Rocafonda kid, the one who plays with flair, with confidence, with a kind of joy that you can't coach into someone. You either have it or you don't. And by the 2024-25 season, the numbers were starting to look almost unreal for someone his age. 18 goals, 21 assists. He became the youngest player in Barcelona's history to reach 100 appearances for the club. He became the youngest ever goalscorer in a Clásico, the biggest, most intense rivalry match in world football against Real Madrid. He was helping his team win trophies. He was breaking records that had survived for generations. But here's the twist. Even with all of that, there was one thing missing. One prize that everyone believed was just a matter of time. In October 2025, at the Ballon d'Or ceremony, the most prestigious individual award in football, Lamine Yamal finished as the runner-up, 18 years old, and already standing on the stage as one of the two best players on the entire planet, according to the voters. Now, for most players, finishing second in the world at 18 would be the achievement of a lifetime. But for Lamine, some fans and pundits couldn't help but wonder, was this the beginning of a run where he'd eventually claim the trophy outright? Was this his almost moment before the inevitable? Because here's the truth, his numbers, his impact, his ceiling, they were only going one direction, up. And through all of this, the records, the trophies, the comparisons to Messi, that honestly, if we're being fair, very few players could ever live up to. Lamine never seemed fazed. He kept playing with that same relaxed confidence he had on his Barcelona debut at 15 years old. But 2026 was about to bring something even bigger. Something that would take Lamine Yamal from being a football superstar to being a name known far outside the sport entirely. In May 2026, during Barcelona's La Liga title parade, Lamine did something that had nothing to do with football skill and everything to do with who he is as a person. He waved a Palestinian flag in front of the crowd as a show of solidarity. The reaction was massive. Fans praised him. Pro-Palestinian activists praised him. Even Spain's Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez, spoke positively about the gesture. But it also drew sharp criticism from Israeli officials, including the country's defense minister, and according to fact-checking reports, Lamine was even targeted in online campaigns, trying to twist and misrepresent what the gesture actually meant. Here's the thing about Lamine that a lot of people miss when they only focus on the highlight reels. He's not just a kid who plays incredible football. He's someone who, even at 18, seems willing to use his platform to speak on things he cares about, knowing full well that it might invite criticism, controversy, even backlash. That takes a different kind of courage than anything you'll see on a football pitch. And just weeks later, in June 2026, Lamine was named a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador. His focus? Children's right to play and supporting kids living through humanitarian emergencies, wars, natural disasters, crisis situations. Think about the symmetry here. The same organization that photographed him as a baby, being bathed by Messi in a charity shoot, was now handing him an ambassador role to help other children around the world. From Rocafonda to representing children on a global stage. That's not just a football story anymore. That's a life story. But don't think for a second that fame and responsibility slowed him down on the pitch. Because 2026 was also the year Lamine Yamal walked onto the largest stage football has to offer. In the summer of 2026, Lamine Yamal helped lead Spain all the way to the FIFA World Cup final. Let that sink in for a second. A player who, just 3 years earlier, was making his first senior appearance off the bench for Barcelona, was now starting for his country in a World Cup final. Along the way, he delivered moments that had commentators and fans losing their minds. He scored early in a start against France, giving Spain the momentum they needed to shut down a team led by Kylian Mbappé and advance to the final. Reports from that tournament described him as a spark, a difference maker, a player who could change a match in a matter of seconds. Think about the layers of this story now. A World Cup final, a Ballon d'Or runner-up finish, a European Championship title, a domestic treble with Barcelona, a UNICEF ambassadorship, all of that before his 19th birthday. Most professional footballers spend their entire careers chasing even one of those achievements. Lamine Yamal, in his teenage years alone, was already collecting them like they were nothing. But now, here's the real question everyone's asking. Where does he go from here? Because when you break this many records this early, there's really only one place left to go. There's a heavy phrase that gets attached to players like Lamine Yamal, the chosen one. It sounds exciting from the outside. But if you really think about what that means for an 18-year-old kid, it's an enormous weight to carry. Every time he steps onto the pitch, he's compared to Messi. Every mistake gets amplified. Every incredible moment gets measured against a player many consider the greatest of all time. That's not fair pressure to put on anyone, let alone someone barely out of his teenage years. And yet, from everything we've seen so far, Lamine seems to handle it with a strange kind of calm. Maybe it's because of where he came from. When you grow up in a neighborhood like Rocafonda, a place the world had written off, a place people called forgotten, maybe the pressure of a football pitch just doesn't compare to the pressure of proving where you come from, doesn't define your future. His goal celebration is proof of that mentality. Every time he scores, he makes a hand gesture representing the number 304, the final digits of his neighborhood's postcode, 08304. He's carrying Rocafonda with him onto every single stage he steps on. Onto Champions League nights, onto European Championship finals, onto World Cup finals. He never left his neighborhood behind. He brought it with him everywhere he went. And that, honestly, might be the most powerful part of this entire story, because so many players, once they reach global stardom, seem to drift away from where they started. Lamine Yamal built that neighborhood into his identity, permanently, with a hand gesture the whole world now recognizes. So where does the story go from here? That's the part nobody can predict with certainty. But based on everything we've seen, the records broken before he could legally drive, the trophies collected before he was old enough to buy a drink in most countries, the calmness under pressure that even seasoned professionals struggle with, it's hard to imagine his story slowing down anytime soon. Barcelona has already secured his future, tying him to the club on a long-term contract that runs through 2031. That's not a club hoping to keep a talented kid around. That's a club building its entire identity around one player, the same way they once did with a certain Argentine number 10. And maybe that's the most fitting comparison of all. Not because Lamine is trying to become the next Messi, nobody could, and honestly, he doesn't need to. But because, just like Messi once did, Lamine Yamal took a club, a country, and a football era, and made it feel like it belonged to him. From a bathtub photo nobody thought twice about, to a boy from a forgotten neighborhood signing with the biggest club on earth at 6 years old, to a 15-year-old breaking 100-year-old records, to a European champion, a World Cup finalist, a Ballon d'Or runner-up, a UNICEF ambassador, all before the age of 19. That's not just a football career, that's one of the most remarkable rises the sport has ever seen. And by the way things are going, we might just be watching the opening chapter. So the next time you see Lamine Yamal make that hand gesture after scoring a goal, remember what it really means. It's not just a celebration, it's a boy from Rocafonda telling the entire world, you didn't forget about me, I made it, and I brought everyone back home along with me. Some players chase greatness. Lamine Yamal seems to be quietly rewriting what greatness even means, and he's doing it before most of us even finished figuring out who we wanted to be at 18. If this story moved you even a little, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more stories like this one. There are so many more incredible journeys in football just waiting to be told, and I'd genuinely love to share the next one with you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.